start with Justin. We're going to get a whole set away from the
What's up, everybody?
Well, Justin, how difficult or how challenging have the last few weeks been for you, and what did it feel like to have a day like today?
Yeah, it was tough, man. Obviously, when you're not making shots, it's my job. There's no excuses. Nobody wants to hit those shots more than I do. So just to have my teammates believing in me throughout that stretch when I wasn't, I really couldn't get anything to fall, and my family, that helped me a lot, just to stay with it. And I've been this way since my freshman year. I've been an everyday guy, so I just continued to take it one day at a time, and I think that was really what helped me come out here and do what I did today.
What was the hardest point, and then what did it feel like to have it break through today?
The hardest point is just because the coaches even told me, obviously I'm a shooter, so when I feel like, when I'm not making shots, I feel like I'm almost useless out there. But, they told me I'm one guy that coaches. He said that he's coached that, I can be out on the court and not hit shots and still have a positive impact on the game, just with a bunch of different things, my communication, rebounding, talking on defense, just a lot of little things that some guys don't bring to the floor. So, just staying with it, like I said, each and every day was, the main thing for me to get through that stretch.
Did any of your teammates in particular, give you any encouraging words that you kind of, maybe leaned on during the stretch?
I wouldn't say there was one particular one, but like EJ, Malachi, Jamari, they know how good of a shooter I am. Obviously, I do too. But when you're not hitting shots, it kind of makes you double think yourself. Because I really never had a stretch like that in all 4 years here. Where I was thinking back, where I really was struggling just to get the ball to go through the hole. So every day that in practice, even in games, they're telling me keep shooting. You're one of the best shooters in the country. Just keep letting it fly. Trust your work. That's what I did.
What did it do for your confidence just to see the first one go down today?
Oh, a lot. It always feels good to see the first one go down as a shooter. Regardless, though, if I miss my first one, I'm still going to shoot the second, shoot the third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Did you feel? I think you hit like your first three. Did you start feeling it a little bit after that, getting into a little bit of a groove?
Yeah, you could say that. Once you hit one or two and you see it go through the hoop, that's almost any basketball player. Just once you see it go through the hoop, you almost feel like you get in a rhythm. So yeah, to hit my first three, it felt really good.
Because it felt like you were just letting them fly after that, regardless of whether it went in. You airballed one. You were kind of all over the place, but just like you had hit some, and so now you were kind of in it.
Yeah, especially once I hit one or two, my immediate first thought is catch and shoot. If the defender's not on me, obviously not sticking to me. If it's a clean look, I think I got fouled on one of them, but I thought I was going to get a cleaner look than I did. But yeah, when you hit two or three in a row, you definitely get a rhythm, start to feel yourself. First thing for me is to think catch and shoot when I get it after I hit two or three.
So when you miss two or three in a row, does it go the opposite way with the confidence and you get a little bit more shaky to shoot them?
It can, but I've learned the past few weeks to just brush it off. There's a lot more game to be played. The game's fast. You can't just sit back and dwell on every mistake you make. If you do that, you're just going to keep making more mistakes. So one thing I really learned was just to keep it pushing, keep doing you, keep playing hard, impacting the game any way you can.
Great. Chris Holtmann was telling us during the stretch that practices really haven't changed for you. Threes were sinking in practice and things like that. Has your approach changed at all during the practice, like these past few weeks practice wise, or what has that been like, knowing that they're sinking in practice, but really just hadn't been able to translate on the court?
Yeah, like I said, it's frustrating because it feels like the whole fan base is against you when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But like I said, for me, it was just one day at a time. Just being an everyday guy, like I've been all 4 years here. So I wouldn't say my approach changed, no, to answer your question. I was just, doing me, doing what I do, getting here, getting shots early, before practice, making sure everybody's competing as hard as we can in practice, so we can keep getting better each and every day.
And you were talking about kind of the approach in different areas of the game. Did you find yourself focusing more on, say, defense or playmaking or things like that over this stretch to see, as coaches continue to preach you make an impact other than just shooting the three?
Yeah, Coach B told me just to really focus on three areas of the game. That's my toughness, my defense, and my rebounding. So those are three areas that I tried to really key in on these past 2 days. That was one note he told me. He said everything else is going to fall in place as long as you focus on those three things and play hard. and it did.
Justin, do you do anything else to kind of get out of your head outside of basketball, maybe to just, I don't know, not think about missing shots during a stretch like that?
Yeah, I play video games with my teammates sometimes. So that's one way just to relax. Get my mind off basketball. Have some fun. I believe in God, so I talk to God a lot. But to be honest, I didn't really change anything the past 2 weeks. Because like I said, I haven't really had a stretch like that in all 4 years here, where I just couldn't get a shot to fall. So I knew it really wasn't anything that I was doing. Like I was working just as hard as I always have, practicing just as hard as I always have. So just to be able to trust that and fall back on that was big for me.
And Zed, you weren't in here when we asked, but what did it feel like for the rest of you guys to see Justin start to hit him? I know the bench went pretty crazy when the first one went down. What was your guys' reaction?
I loved it. He's been going through a little shooting slump, but, just keep shooting. I've been telling him just keep shooting because eventually going to have to get out of it. Like, it's not going to last forever. So, when that first one went down, I was like, oh, yeah, he's back. So, it was a good night for him, and, I'm just going to keep shooting.
Any more for Justin?
I have one more. Just you've been around here a while, so you sort of understand the ebbs and flows of a college basketball season. I'm just curious, at this point in the year, you guys have played so infrequently. How does it feel different in terms of maybe what you feel like you know about this team at this point in the season compared to maybe what you normally would if you had been able to play at a normal kind of cadence?
Yeah, one thing I know for sure about this team is we're battle tested because obviously, as you guys know, we've been in a lot of games that came down to the last shot. A lot of games. Just whether we win or loss, just to be in those moments, I feel like that's going to help us a lot in the long run. Because, as you guys know, some nights, we're going to have an off night and we're not going to be hitting shots. And the other team's going to be hitting. So, just to be in those moments and experience, what it's like at the end of the game to be fighting, for the game, the final answer. Just to have been through that, I think that's going to help us a lot.
And both of you guys might have perspective on this. I'm just curious what you think about how EJ has grown kind of as a playmaker. He had 5 assists tonight, no turnovers. He seems to find you, Zed, quite a bit on those high-low actions, and I know he can find shooters as well. Justin, just what have you seen from him in terms of improvement in his passing and kind of seeing the floor?
Yeah, obviously I've been with EJ all 3 years that he's been here, so just to see him grow as a player has been amazing to watch. You see it every day. He's an everyday guy, like I said. And Coach tells him, you got to go be the best player in practice each and every day. And I feel like these past couple weeks he's really been doing that, in every aspect of the game, whether he's blocking shots, finding open teammates when the double comes or hitting tough shots. So just to see him grow and expand his game and, excel in so many different aspects of the game is really, honestly, amazing to watch to me.
Thanks, Justin.
Appreciate it, guys.
Bye, Justin.
Some for EJ, and we'll go down and get Coach.
I say, who is EJ? Come on. I'm telling you, maybe start shooting jumpers now. I'm telling you, since I'm EJ.
Zed, I know the Purdue game didn't go the way you wanted it, and Coach Holtmann was pretty public about challenging you for more. To score 6 straight to start this game the way that you did and establish yourself in the paint, how much did you need that, and how much did you feel that impact the game?
Well, after the Purdue game, I was talking to the coaching staff, and they just said I need to be more consistent with the play. They expect a lot of me every day in practice and in the game. So that's what they really said, just be more consistent. So I've been with Coach Pio every day, running more, shooting a lot more, just trying to stay consistent.
What does that look like? How do you work on something like that?
This is the point in time of the season where, it's a lot of games and short stretches, and so just got to keep the wind up because last year around this time, my wind has gone significantly down and it affected my play. So just trying to not have that happen again since last year and just trying to keep my condition up. So because I worked so hard for it and I'm not trying to lose again. So just trying to keep that.
What did you feel like went wrong for you against Purdue maybe, and how much did it have to do with, the tough defensive assignment of, guarding a guy that was 7'4" and whatnot?
Well, this ain't no excuse, but I picked up 2 quick fouls against Purdue, and I just really couldn't get in no flow in the game after that. Come back in, foul, go sit back down, come back in and foul. Like it's tough, but, that's not an excuse. I still got to come in and just be like, as Justin said, like an everyday guy. So, you know, just as going back talking to the coaching staff, they said I need to be better. So I took that to heart and just trying to be better every day.
When it comes to, I mean, whenever you ask players what the Big Ten is like, it's physical. It's down low, kind of gritty. And I'm curious about, I mean, obviously you saw that, and that led to a little bit of inconsistency like you were talking about against Purdue. But, I mean, today to kind of set the tone, kind of set the presence of physicality inside the paint, especially on those first 3 makes inside, how much confidence does that bring, not only for you, but just for the offense to kind of establish that paint presence to allow kind of the rest of the offense to work around?
Well, confidence for me, when I see that first basket go through, I'm like, okay, like, come on, you're like, get it going. like you know, you're good. So I'll be out there like a little nervous. Every game I'm nervous before the game. So that first basket, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're good. So, you know, just coming in playing physical, like it sends the team a message when you're the more physical team, and you just come out there and punch them in the mouth, basically. Yeah, it definitely does send a message, and it helped us win tonight because they were. Like, Maryland's a really good team, but you know we got them from the jump.
Was there a message, especially, you guys didn't have an offensive rebound, I don't think, until the second half. And I'm curious, what was that talked about in the locker room at halftime? Or
yeah, Coach Holtmann said we have to get more offensive rebounds. Like, we got to crash the glass a lot harder than what we were doing. And the team took that to heart, and we came out in the second half, rebounding a lot more, and you know, it helped us get second chance points, easy layups around the rim, and threes, kick out to Justin and the other shooters. So, you know, offensive rebound is big for us.
Sid, what do you think was the biggest difference today? Like you said, you built a double-digit lead, and it pretty much stayed there. What was the difference? What enabled you guys to kind of keep them at arm's length throughout?
I think it was just our energy and just will and want to win. You know, as I said, we came out the jump ready to go. People hitting big shots. Justin came in, started hitting threes, and you know the crowd got behind us, and you know, feeding off the crowd. You know, just kept it going. So, you know, it was a good win.
Does some of that come from you're supposed to play Thursday, you don't play Thursday, so maybe you got some maybe pent up feelings or pent up aggression? Does some of what we saw today come from some of that?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, we wanted to play Iowa, but due to the weather and some unforeseen circumstances, we couldn't. And you know, it's tough. You know, getting ready to play, game day, game canceled or postponed. So it's definitely tough. But you know, the guys are always ready to play, and we really want to play. So you know, definitely had some built-up energy, ready to go.
Thanks, Zed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zed.
Thank you.
Close the roof.
All right, good win for us against a Maryland team that's really played well. When we go there, I think obviously we're gonna need to expect a lot of what we saw in stretches here today. Obviously, every team's different at home, and I got a lot of respect for the quality and the talent on their team and the job Danny and his staff is doing. We have great respect for them. We know they're a team that can go on a run in a hurry, and I think that's why, to some degree, us as coaches were a little bit on edge there, because we know they can make threes in bunches. But good production from a variety of guys. Thrilled for Justin, because I know he's really been putting in his work. So really happy for Justin. He gave us a great lift, and he's a pro's pro, so I expected that he would snap out of this, and he's just got to keep working. So.
Chris, two ways to measure a team is how you play against really good teams, and you've done that really well, Purdue, Duke. And then the way you play against, less talented teams that you don't come down to their level. Are you pretty satisfied with so far this season, how that's gone? Score-wise, it looks like you've done pretty well.
I think this was, and I do think the thing as a coach you're trying to measure is your team's effort and concentration, for as long as you play. And I think good teams have the necessary attention to detail and concentration and effort for long stretches. And that has been at times inconsistent for us, as it has been for a lot of teams. You know, this Maryland team is, I mean, they almost beat Michigan State the other day. This, you know, in this league, I mean, this is a talented group. So I think, to your point, though, what we're trying to measure is almost, we understand that teams are at varying levels or maybe having different levels of season, but our attention to detail, our concentration, and our effort has to be consistent. And I think that's where we can be better, more and more consistent, and that's where we have to continue to challenge our group.
Coming out second half, it didn't go well against Purdue tonight. Different story.
We told them that. Yeah.
Today,
at halftime, yeah, we did. We reminded them of our first 4 minutes at Purdue.
And the offensive rebounding, you might have reminded them too.
We did.
0. Okay.
Yeah. We didn't have any offensive rebounds, which was disappointing. They had 7 defensive rebounds. I didn't think those were, might have a future in coaching. Those were the 2 points we really hit on in halftime is we needed better, I think better force to the ball and what kind of urgency were we going to come out of the halftime with.
And we talked earlier in the week about how you wanted Zed to respond from that Purdue game. How well did he heed that what you wanted to get out of him tonight?
Yeah, Zed I thought had some really good moments. Zed has to be consistent. That's the sign of growth of a player. He's had really, really good moments this year. I mean, we can rattle off how many. I mean, he's had some tremendous games. What we're looking for with him is consistency on the defensive end, the offensive end, but most importantly, his effort. That's what we're looking for. And I think that's the challenge for a young guy. He's got to continue to grow in that area. So it's good that, I expect, because he's a phenomenal kid, I expected him to play better, but now he's got to see, okay, come Wednesday, really come tomorrow at practice, what is his preparation going to be leading into Rutgers?
Then I know you said you were thrilled to see Justin have a big game today. What was kind of your reaction when you saw that first one go down? Were you kind of like a sigh of relief and thinking, okay, maybe he can get it going here?
Yeah, I was just really happy for him because I know how much work he's put in, and he's a phenomenal kid. He's a pro's pro. He's just an incredible kid. He's an incredible teammate. And, I told the team, think about this. He played however many minutes against Purdue. Was it 9, 10, 11? Not much. I don't think he scored. And yet somehow you would never have noticed any difference in Justin Arns the next time we came to practice. He was the loudest, the most energized, the best talker in practice. And that is a mature kid. When I talk about pro's pro, that's exactly what it looks like. Most kids, when they have a bad game, and if you lose, they come in and they don't have the same spirit that Justin had. His spirit has not waned through the stretch. He's been disappointed, but his work has not waned, and I think he's just got to, I'm not saying he's going to go and make 4-7 every night, but he's got to just continue to be Justin, and if he does that, I'm confident.
When he talked to us, he said that when he knows that he's a shooter, and when he's not making shots, that you can feel like the fan base almost feeling disappointed. He talked about some of that outside external pressure. How, as a coach, do you try to help someone through that when you've expressed all the confidence that you can in him, and you know that there's a body of work that says he's a good shooter? How have you tried to? I assume that's probably a tough balance of too much and too light. Like that's got to be a tough tightrope to walk.
Yeah, kids hear and see things. Coaches hear and see things. Twitter's, you got a lot of Twitter coaches, and I just think in general, you got to stay away from that because it can get, it can be poison in success and it can be poison in a difficult stretch. We know that, right? I mean, with social media been going around for we know that. It's poison. You can't listen to it. It's hard, though. Kids hear those things. He cares ultimately about Ohio State winning. So it's when he's not making shots and making open ones, a kid that cares that much, in some ways it'd probably be easier if he didn't care as much. If you just kind of cut loose, and to some degree he does. But I just think he's got to ignore that. He's got to stay focused on getting better. And he's got a lot of fans, and I believe this. that watched the game today and were thrilled for Justin Orange, because that's what I believe's out there in Buckeye Nation. I'm sure he's had people that have been frustrated with him like they are with me, but I know he had a lot of fans who looked at that and said, we're happy for that kid because we know he struggled.
And those attributes that you talk about with him, are those things you see when you're recruiting a kid? Like, could you see some of this stuff in Justin, some of the mental toughness and some of the things that it has taken him to get to this point in his career, or does that develop over
No,
time?
I think we started to see it early in his career, but honestly, it was a pretty quick recruitment. You know, we had just gotten here, and I didn't get to know him. We did a home visit with he and his family. I didn't get to know him for like a year and a half or 2 year process like I do with the kids now. So I didn't, honestly.
So we talk about in the Big Ten how important physicality is, and I'm curious, especially it seemed like you guys were focused on pounding down low with Zed, especially early on, kind of setting the tone there. How important is that, like in terms to kind of set momentum, set confidence, and kind of build your offense based on the consistency from Zed there in the paint?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big part of what we do offensively is playing through the paint with a number of guys. I think it's a big part of what we do, and that we play off of that. And sometimes when teams take that away, we have to adjust and try to impact in different ways offensively. That's a big part of what we do.
Does it provide a little bit more life? Because it seems like there's some points where you guys start games and you said, get a little bit too three happy or trying to find open looks. I mean, does it provide a different level of confidence when you see that level of consistency in the paint to kind of open up shots?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to ask them. I just think it's our identity. So when we can be that, it fits who we are. It fits the strengths of our team. But we're also going to shoot a lot of threes. I thought EJ made some tremendous reads in the high-low situation today that opened up some clean looks. 5 assists again, no turnovers. Happy for him with that. He's really done a good job passing, but just who we are.
This is not to say he wasn't getting them up in other games, because he has, but they went down today. It just felt like after he hit 2 or 3 of them, he was really just letting them fly regardless of if they were going in or
Justin?
not. Yeah, Justin. Even like the air ball, it's like.
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of sense that on the bench, watching him shoot it today in comparison to other games where he wasn't necessarily in his head after he missed a couple?
Yeah, we did. I think it was a relief to him because he knew they were big shots and shots we needed. He also had been really shooting it well the last couple of days in practice. So you kind of knew this was going to come at some point. And I think probably just seeing it go down for him in practice and early was important for him.
Is that a thing? Or because I doubt he shoots terrible every day in practice, but when it's not necessarily translating to the game, do you see him get frustrated with stuff like that at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's easy. When a guy's as prolific as he's been, he's been one of the best shooters we've had consistently for 4 years. He's never had a stretch like this, so I think he got really frustrated. But again, he's too good a shooter to shoot like this the rest of the year. He's got to stay a threat. And honestly, you guys know this. There's going to be some teams in our league that are just not going to let him ever get an open look. So he still has to find ways to impact the game. Like, that's going to happen. It happened last year in the Big Ten tournament. And, against Purdue didn't let him get many clean looks. Michigan, we won those games. Like, some teams just completely take him out. And other guys have to step up when that happens.
Chris, I don't know if you noticed it as you're coaching, but the bench, each time he made one, really, really celebrated Justin.
They love him.
Yeah, it seems like they felt what he was feeling to some degree. How do you kind of sense that with your team when maybe not him, but other guys are struggling and the team kind of picks you up?
Yeah, I think, they love him. They felt it there too. I think we were all coaches, players, just really excited for him, But again, it's not to say he won't have another game where he struggles, but I think more than anything, just really excited for him. He's an easy kid to root for, We got a lot of guys that are easy to root for. He's an easy guy to root for.
Chris, when you guys were recruiting EJ, I'm sure you saw a lot of things about him that were very promising. What did you project for him in terms of his playmaking ability that you sort of referenced there earlier, and his ability to make those reads at the top of the key with the ball in his hand?
He didn't have to do it a ton. He was the biggest guy, kind of played at the rim a lot, blocked so many shots because of how quick of a jumper he is and his timing. His coach did a phenomenal job, but they played small like 4 smalls around him. So didn't see that a ton. AAU didn't see it a ton either, Bill. He kind of played, long post in AAU and would turn and face some, good rebounder. What we've seen here late is him grow in that area. I want him to get a rebound and push. This year we've said, hey, you get a defensive rebound, you push it. You push it, make the right. Now, sometimes he's turned it over on that, but more times than not, he's gotten something good out of it. It's important for him. I think we play a little faster that way, but also it helps him grow and develop. It's a part of his game that I think allows him to showcase maybe a little bit of a bigger part of his game. It's not gonna. I mean, I think it's a small part. What the NBA people have said they want to see from him, they never have said we want to see him be a bust-out guy. But I think it helps. It makes him. It can't hurt with having 5 assists and no turnovers, and he's, I think, second on our team in assists this year.
And when you guys have sort of played so infrequently and have had these disruptions, how do you balance wanting to make sure you're getting them, I don't know, as close to game reps as possible in practice, with also knowing you're about to play 11 games in 4 weeks and you want to keep them fresh?
I got to figure that out, honestly. I mean, we practiced really hard these last 2 days, really hard. I was hard on them 2 days ago. And part of that was just probably, I was ready for a game. So we went really hard these last couple of days because I'm concerned about these consistent, layoffs that we've had. And we can get out of shape, just our body types in general can get out of shape pretty quickly. So I think the challenge now is getting better in practice and staying fresh for a stretch that, unlike anything I've been a part of. And I think that's what we've got to our Q, myself, our staff, our training staff, our medical staff has to come up with a plan.
Chris, it's not a secret that this gym isn't the loudest gym in the country or anything like that. But you guys have managed to go 10-0 so far at home this year. I know that built into that is kind of the IUPUIs, but also you had Wisconsin in here, you had Duke in here. What does it mean for your program to be 10-0 right now in this building?
Yeah. By the way, Towson, I think, is top 85 in the net. So.
Okay. So Duke and Wisconsin and Towson.
Yeah. That win there looks pretty good right now. Your first part of your question just got me thinking. I forget the last part of your question. I'm sorry.
What does it mean to be 10-0 at home?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. And I do think that our guys were anxious to get our students have been phenomenal. I think, student tickets sold out for the first time, and they sold out in like an hour for the first time in like, what was it? I don't know how many years it was. Our students have been consistent and been phenomenal. I thought we had, it's a big arena, as we all know, but I thought we had good energy. I'm anxious for it to continue to grow as we get more conference games coming up here. But to be 10-0, one, I really appreciate fans coming out today in a cold winter day. They've been phenomenal for us. Our students, our fans have been really good, and I hope it continues to grow because it feels good to be 10-0. And you don't want to say that because you're not guaranteed anything at home, but to start off, to be at this point and be undefeated has been great.
Have you felt that every year that you've been here kind of grow in the building? I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, it's not a big secret. Like when you got here, it wasn't what it is right now even, and I'm sure that you want it to go up another level.
Yes.
But are you feeling that as you walk in here every time?
I am. I have felt it, and we have to keep we got to keep growing it. But I have felt it grow every year, and in particularly, these last 2 non-COVID years, it's grown. And we want to continue to bring in attractive opponents too, because that always helps. But I have felt it grow. It's hugely important when you have an arena this size to keep it energized. So again, I think we begin with our students and kind of build from there. I think we have a very likable team. That helps when you got guys that are relatable and likable. I'm sure that helps, and hopefully we can continue to have a love of success where people want to come out. That's our job. Okay, thanks, guys.